Real quick before I get into this video, I just wanted to let you guys know two things. Number one, I should have already let you know this, but 30-day book binge is going on. I did post about it on the blog and I did post about it on Twitter, but I know that not everyone who watches my videos on YouTube necessarily follows me on those places. So it's 30-day book binge. If you'd like to participate, I will leave it linked below. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that I'm tentatively planning on doing Austin in August this year. I took last year off because I wasn't feeling great, but I'm going to try to do it this year. It's going to be a struggle though. So if you want to know more about it or you would like to participate, you'd like to contribute anything, I would love you forever, first of all. Second of all, that will also be linked below so you can find out more. Now onto the video.
Oh, thanks. You're cute. You're pretty alright.
Just after saying that, he bit me. Alright, I don't think I ever introed this video, so I'm going to just go ahead and do it now, just in case. But as I had mentioned in other videos, I have been sporadically recording a reading vlog, specifically based around recommendations that you guys have given me. I've been asking for them lately. I've been wanting to shake up what I'm reading and not just keep reading the same things, and not feel like I'm in a rut or like everything's running together or like I'm not enjoying reading. So I just solicited all recommendations and then I made a list of them, where they were available, you know, whether I could get them on Hoopla or Overdrive, whether I already owned them, and the ones that I had access to, I've just been working my way through based just purely on a whim. Like, this one sounds good right now, I'm gonna go ahead and try this one. So here's the flaw though in the reading vlog that I'm supposedly doing. I have been enjoying it so much that I've just been tearing through them like absurdly fast, which means that I haven't sat down to tell you about things. So I've recorded bits and pieces of my thoughts on some of these books as I've gone, but not terribly much. So today I thought we would have a little catch up. I'm going to go back through and edit in things that I have said over the last month and a half or so about these books. Actually, by this point it's probably closer to 2 months. That's how long I've been putting this off. But because there have been so many of them, I'm pretty much ready to wrap the vlog up, or it's going to be endless, even though I haven't been vlogging them. But book-wise, there are so many of them, it's going to be endless. So I thought I would sit down today and catch you up on the one I just finished. Talk about where I'm going from here. Hi, Marley. Hi, Pooch. I thought we'd sit here for a nice garden view, but I guess you're getting a nice Marley view. But I'll go ahead and add in clips of books as I talk about them if I have any, and then I will add on to that with my final thoughts on the books. Okay, today is the 13th, and I'm just sitting here working on a project that I don't know if I can really tell you too much about because we're still a few months off from it being anything actionable, but something I'm very excited about. And I thought while I'm working on it, because I would talk a bit about what I've read so far this month, but I had been working on finishing up an ebook. It's an Austen retelling that I was thinking sounded really familiar and I couldn't figure out why. I definitely have read the damn thing. I've read it. The further I got in, I was like, I don't know how I made it halfway through without realizing that I had read it, or was even thinking like, did I read a plagiarized version? Like, instead of just the obvious of, Misty, you probably read this because you've read all the Jane Austen. I went ahead and finished that one up, started making a list of who recommended me what, so I went ahead and picked up a book that was recommended to me by Kara from Wild Book Garden. Well, not the specific book. She recommended that I read something by T. Kingfisher, and the book that I wanted to read, and have been wanting to read for a while, wasn't available, so I went ahead and just checked out what was available on Hoopla, and there's a book called Bryony and Roses, and listened to that on audiobook, and oh, I was so thoroughly charmed. It was exactly what I needed. It's what I've been asking for, and yes, I just loved it. I should back up a tiny bit though and say that the reason I decided to take on this project was it just felt like fate was calling me to, because I logged onto Twitter one day and the top tweet on my timeline was from Random House, who were asking people what they're in the mood to read, not what book, but what feel are you looking for right now, and they were recommending things to people, and I was like, clearly this is a sign. So I told them I was looking for something whimsical and charming, and they recommended My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella, which I'm not gonna lie, I would not have picked up. So I thought I would start with that, and that was gonna kick off the project, but it wasn't available through my library, so I moved on, picked up Bryony Rose's, read it, loved it, but in the meantime I had recommended to my library through Overdrive that they, of course someone's gonna mow their lawn right now. Hold on, one moment. That's still probably all you can hear. Anyway, I had recommended through Overdrive that my library pick up that book by Sophie Kinsella. No, they already had it. This is a lie. I recommended something else to them. They had it, but it was unavailable, so I put a hold on it, and it came in really, really quickly. So I started that last night after finishing with Bryony and Roses, and my luck did not hold out. I can't remember the last time I've disliked a book so much. I'm not that far in, and I don't think I'm gonna get that far in because I hate it. I really, really hate it. It just was making my brain feel so chaotic. It felt so motor mouth, and I say that as someone who talks a mile a minute and talks a lot. I am self-aware enough. I just loathed every second of listening to this book. I don't think I can do it. So I think it's going to be the first fail of the little project. I think I just have to be okay with that. So now, brand new day, I've got to decide whether to give it one more chance and keep going, or whether to move on to the next recommendation. So just thought I would check in, and now I'm going to get back to work. Alright, so let's play catch up, shall we? That Sophie Kinsella book got abandoned real fast. I can't remember the last time that I've so instantly and actively took a dislike to something. I don't know whether it was the book itself, the character narration, the audiobook narration. I feel like it was a combination of all three. Everything about it just instantly grated on me. I mean, I didn't make it 45 minutes into this book and I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this to myself. I felt a little bit douchey because the whole point of this is to read things that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise, but I didn't want to ruin my whole enthusiasm for this project by starting off with something that I loathed. So I just abandoned it. That one it was a goner. Fortunately, it's the only one I've abandoned, but that one just had to go. The T. Kingfisher book, however, I loved. Oh, fucking loved it. I loved it. It was so good. I will absolutely be reading more. I will also, I think, be rereading that one. I feel like it's one of those things that I'll revisit numerous times over the course of my life. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, done very, very well. It gave me exactly what I want. I liked the characters, I liked the tone, I liked the style, I liked the narration. There was nothing I didn't like about it. I'm pretty sure I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads. I wish I had given you reactions as I went, but honestly I couldn't have because I flew through it so fast. Ugh, I'm sorry, they're doing renovations next door. I think I didn't open my laptop for like 3 days just because I was so... Every time I needed something to, have on with me while I'm doing whatever, I went straight to the book. So good. The next pick, however, almost got abandoned. The next one I read was Starling by Leslie Livingston, which was recommended by Emily. And Emily recommended me lots of things. So I figured since she recommended me so many, I should go with one of hers. And I think a couple of them might have been available, but the one that was instantly available and didn't have any holds on it and that I was curious about was Starling. And if this wasn't for this project, I probably would have abandoned that one too. I stuck it out, and it did, I think, eventually get better. It did pick up, but it took me so long to not only get into this, but to feel like I had any reason to care at all. And I mean, honestly, I don't know that I ever fully cared about these characters or their plight. I don't know that I ever fully bought in. I feel like, and I had a persistent feeling through it, that if I had read this closer to when it came out, maybe I would have liked it more, because it felt very 2012. I feel like there was a style that we were all into at the time that we're just not as into anymore, and I feel like authors got away with more then of what we were expecting from them, I guess. Or maybe it was just I was younger and I didn't give a shit. I don't know. But to be honest, it felt so kind of milquetoast to me, you know? Like, it was interchangeable with so many other books, but also so very over the top. Just all of the elements felt really dialed up, which is probably great for the age that it's aimed at, you know? If I was actually YA, then maybe I would have enjoyed it more. Actually, I take that back, because me as a teenager, I would have enjoyed it much, much less. Much less. I was so uptight. I didn't have any patience for cheesiness then. It wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have read this. But there are plenty of young adults who love that, like, dialed up to 11 thing. So I get it. I think that it probably works for most people in that age group. But it just did not work at all for me, and I felt like I never believed anybody. I never believed the characters. I never believed their motivations, or that they kept secrets the way they did, as well as they did, for as long as they did. None of it. None of it. I believed none of it. I also had major issues where I kept feeling like I was missing something. Like, I would feel like, how did we go from here to here? When did that happen? And I just thought after a while that maybe it was me tuning out because I wasn't enjoying it. And I read a review from my friend Christina, and she said the same thing. She had multiple times where she was like, wait, where did that come from? How did we get there? That's clearly a flaw in the writing. I will say it did pick up. It got better to where I wasn't like actively dreading listening to it, but I never loved it and felt no desire to continue with the rest of the series. So sorry, Emily. I know that you were really excited for me to read it, and I'm bummed to have to report that I didn't enjoy it, but I'm not going to hold that against your other recommendations. The next recommendation that I picked up was from Shalina, and she also recommended me a couple, and the first one I picked up was The Duke I Tempted by Scarlett Peckham. Now, I obviously love myself some... Oh, come on! I obviously love myself some historical romance. Love it. But I don't know if I would have picked this one up necessarily. Partly because I hadn't heard of it, but even if I came across it, I might have, because the covers are beautiful, but I might not have, because there's a little bit of a BDSM vibe to it, and that has just never been my thing. I never fell for the BDSM boom that came after 50 Shades. I never made it more than 10 pages into 50 Shades. Just doesn't do it for me, but especially in a historical romance setting where I feel like women had so little agency and were so abused as it was, that I don't want to read about someone abusing someone for pleasure. So I was hesitant going in, and it was so good. It was so good. That aspect was so well handled. I think part of maybe why it worked so well for me was because it was, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but it was the person in control was the woman, and the person who belonged to a secret high society historical whipping club was a man. That kind of addressed the agency issue for me, and her intrigue about it, the main character's intrigue and, like, you know, slightly scandalized but type of approach, just made it really fun and cute. And I mean, it's not like it wasn't a thing. The Marquis de Sade existed. I think that's another part of why I have a little bit of a distaste for it in historicals, because the historical representation of it is appalling. Look, I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. Do what you're into, I don't give a shit. It's not my yum, you know? But this was so good. It was so good. And that part actually, like, it was enjoyable to me. It was like every time that would creep into the story, and like there'd be like some dominatrixy shit or something, it was delightful. I don't know if that's the reaction that is intended. I'm sure it was supposed to be like scintillating to people, but because, you know, I'm me, I was just like cracking up and I loved it. The voice acting was great. I thought she did a great job. I thought the interactions between the characters and how things played out again was great. I thought the stakes were appropriately high but not cheesy. I mean, it gave me everything I want from a historical novel, a historical romance. And then an extra layer of enjoying something that I didn't expect to, which is exactly what I wanted from this whole little challenge to myself. I wanted to read things I wouldn't in style and tone and whatever it is, and find some things that I love. And I did find something that I loved, which is why I added other books by Scarlett Peckham to my to-read list immediately, and ended up reading another one of hers later in the month. So technically this book wasn't the recommendation. I also ended up reading The Earl I Ruined, which is part of the same series. It focuses on some kind of peripheral characters from the first book. Again, has some BDSM flavor to it. This time it is, well, I don't want to give anything away. Anyway, I'll just say that I still didn't have any issues with agency being a problem or with consent, with it feeling abusive at all. I thought that whole aspect of it was really, really well done. I think I may have actually liked the plot, the characters in this one even more. Just excellent. I will be reading the third book soon. And then the last one I'm going to talk about right now in this setting is another recommendation by Shalina, because she knocked it out of the park so much with that first one, and I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to keep going and see what else she had to offer, especially because on the surface they seem so different. So I moved straight into her second recommendation, which was A Promise of Fire by an author whose name I can't remember right now. The one I loved too. So Shalina, I am going to be stalking your Goodreads. I want all of your recommendations, please. Bink! Some find too cheesy or over the top, or things move too fast, and they may not like the alpha maleness of the main character, the male lead, and I fully get that. They also might not like the super specialness of the female character. Again, super get that. It's the type of thing where it didn't work in Starling because I didn't feel like it was well done, but for me it worked in this one. Again, I listened on audiobook. That may have contributed to it. Maybe if I was kind of reading it at my own pace and lingering over things, I might have found things cheesy in a way that I didn't through the audio. But it kind of reminded me of books like Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. Not that it was like Poison Study, but the kind of feel that it gave me and the way that I loved it and the kind of romantic fantasy of it. That level, that layer, just both of these books, both of these recommendations from Shalina are ones that I found myself actually, is it weird to say smiling out loud? I was smiling out loud too, you know, like just sitting there to myself on my bed, smiling like a fool. All of a sudden something would happen, like, you know, you're in it, you're not really like focused, probably blank faced. I'm like working on whatever, playing Stardew Valley, making a card, whatever I'm doing. All of a sudden would just be like, they both elicited that reaction from me multiple times, and I love it. I love it when a book does that. I love it when I feel like I'm emotionally engaged enough to actually react. So big wins for both of those, for all three of those, because I'm counting the Earl I Ruined as a Shalina recommendation too, because I wouldn't have found that series otherwise. So that is catching us up to where we are now. Moving on from here, I need to read the book that I already talked about with you guys in my last haul that I bought specifically for this little recommendations challenge, which is The Wolf and the Dove by Kathleen Woodiwiss. I wanted to say putting it off, but actually I just completely forgot about it. I gave it to my mom because she wanted to reread it along with me, and once it was out of sight, it was fully out of mind, and then I remembered last night that I need to read it, and my vibe fell hard. Try to remember to bring you guys along with me as I read that one. Alright, I know I said I was going to go ahead and read one more book in this, that book being The Wolf and the Dove, but I still don't know where it is. That's the risk I run when I let my mom borrow things. And even beyond that, this video is definitely long enough as it is. So there will be another reading vlog in the future that is me reading people's recommendations, because I still have a whole long list and I'm adding to it regularly. Keep them coming. I love it. That will come down the line. I have a couple of other things I want to do in the meantime. You know, I'll get to those in another video, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it here because this is so long as it is, and we're going to call it a day. I loved this project. I'm going to continue it. I love the enthusiasm that it's given me in trying new things and finding new authors and voices. I just keep noticing this little hair that escaped from my bun, and it's getting on my nerves. But anyway, I love this project. I thank you so much to everyone who sent me suggestions and recommendations and encouraged me to branch out. I'm gonna turn around and encourage you to do the same, because this has been really fun and reinvigorating and just kind of joyous. Really liked it. So thank you guys. That is all for this video, and I will see you again soon. Until then though, happy reading. Okay, let's hope YouTube doesn't pull this video down because of Welcome to the Jungle, because the construction next door is now Guns N' Roses jam session. Perfect timing, because I just ran out of space on my phone.